is well, everybody. I'm sending out my shares really quickly so that way we can get started. First of all, happy Friday. I hope that you're having an amazing day today. And I hope that for the ones that are off today, you're having a great start to your weekend. And I hope that everybody has a restful weekend. If you do not know who I am, hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. I'm here to help you and support you in knowing what's going on exactly when it comes to your health. Specifically, what we've been talking about and what our live is going to be about today is A1C and insulin resistance, and the conversation that no one is having with you, and understanding that deeper concept of how we get to reversal methods, how we get to the space of no longer dealing with a blood sugar that is too high or irregular, or dealing with insulin resistance that is not a regular, healthy, produced amount of insulin. That's the way I want to say it, because I was going to say it backwards. I've been saying a lot of things backwards this week. I've been tongue-tied. I'm going to try to slow down and speak slowly so that way I don't get too tongue-tied, because y'all know I'll get into like my whole ranting stage and then I'll start speaking faster and faster, right? So if you are a woman who is dealing with A1C rises, or you're having the issue of that your doctor has told you that you are borderline insulin resistance, you are borderline in a space of being diabetic, you were keeping an eye on it, we don't want to put you on medication yet, or just try to lose a little bit of weight, right? Like, that's the space that you are in currently right now. The doctor is giving you these small little fixes that would be great if they were telling you exactly how to establish habit patterns that allow you to be able to lose that weight, to get rid of that borderline insulin resistance, or that borderline space of being diabetic, right? But deep down, you feel that something is changing in your body. Something has shifted. The weight that you were able to lose earlier by just doing a diet culture in your life, earlier in your life, by just doing a diet, or taking a step back and maybe restricting a couple things like carbs, or you sitting here and you doing some type of fasting, or you doing a juice cleanse, used to work for you to lose X amount of pounds, to feel better, to feel lighter, right? But now you feel your body starting to shift, and that this is not working the way that it used to be, or that your body is not bouncing back the way that it used to be, right? And you're noticing that your waistline is expanding, and even though you're dieting, it's still not changing. You're having energy crashes more than what you're used to, because yes, maybe you used to be a little tired and have an energy crash, but now it seems like that's your whole day, is that you're trying to gain that energy and you cannot figure out where to get it from. Having those sugar cravings that feel stronger than what they used to, those sugar cravings that are driving you. And this quiet fear is in the back of your mind that's saying, my mother had diabetes, or my father, or my grandmother, or my grandpa, or something like that. Maybe somebody in my family lost their life, or their health declined based on some type of metabolic disease. And that's what's right now in your mind thinking, I don't want to be there, or I might be there. And you start to wonder, am I headed down this path? You start to see the signs that are showing you, yes, you are headed down this path. And that's a scary place to be, knowing that you've had past relatives that have had this issue of insulin resistance or diabetes, and you see the decline, you see it starting to happen, and you don't know where to go or where to turn to, because you don't want to wait until you get diagnosed with it, right? And so you're trying to figure out, what is the next step for me to be able to get away from this path that I'm headed down? This is not a space where we give you quick wellness tips and show you exactly how you lose 20 pounds in 20 days. This live is about you understanding the metabolic symbolism that you are having in your body, to understand your metabolism is not where it needs to be. Your A1C is not where it needs to be. You are having an imbalance in your hormones, and we have to figure out, how do we release this imbalance? How do we get away from this imbalance? But you have to understand the signals that are being ignored, because I work with tons of women, right? Women are my main clientele. And so women are having bodies that are screaming out to them, giving them a number of signs, whispering to them even. I'm going to say whisper rather than screaming out, because a lot of these things are subtle little hints that are telling you your A1C is rising. Your waistline is expanding. Afternoon crashes, craving of all this sugar by the afternoon. Let's say about 2 or 3 o'clock. Now you need a sweet treat to help you be able to get through the rest of the day, right? Brain fog, poor sleep regulation, overloaded inflammation in the joints, water retention. This is what women come to me and they're telling me that they're having water retention. They're having a number of issues with inflammation. And I always ask about their hormone balance, specifically about their cycles. And I'm asking how they are, how they're impacted, how their month goes. And usually the signs are pointing towards the fact that this is a sign of blood sugar dysregulation. This is not a random symptom. These are not random symptoms. This is not something that your body is just trying to turn against you and punish you for living life. It's a communication from your body that this is something going on deeper, and it's in your metabolism. And your metabolism is not where it needs to be. So then your whole metabolic process is off, which is throwing off your regulation for your insulin, for your glucose. You getting hydration on a cellular level. You getting oxygen on a cellular level. You getting those cells unlocked to be able to use the energy from the foods that you eat. Your body is telling you, it's signaling to you that your insulin is shifting every time that you eat. It's not supported every time that you eat. Every time you eat a snack, every time you eat a main meal, you're not using stabilizers to help the body build itself up and use that energy. But instead, you're having your body panic and break itself down. And your A1C is slowly rising. It doesn't rise just randomly overnight all of a sudden and just be distraught and just thrown off. It slowly rises. It slowly moves 0.1% at a time. And year after year of you not understanding how detrimental your habits are, you're not being taught how to balance your blood sugar. You're not being taught your 4 phases of your cycle for you to understand that there is a phase of your cycle that you are more likely to be insulin resistant. And so then all of a sudden you go to the doctor and they're telling you you're pre-diabetic and you're like, how did I get pre-diabetes? This is so sudden. This is so random. But the truth is the story is just aligning with the path that you were on. It's not just random or sudden that you now all of a sudden have a high A1C and you were insulin resistant. You were insulin resistant and having these issues long before you got that appointment and that diagnosis. You just didn't understand where the symptoms were coming from and the pattern habits that were showing you the path that you were on. This has happened with your grandma, your father, your grandpa, your aunts, your uncles, whoever in your life that you were thinking that has diabetes and it runs in your family. All of them have the same habit patterns and don't recognize the symptoms that are showing you the path that you were going down. And you went down that same path. But I'm not saying this is not a space where you can fix it and reverse it, but you have to understand, 1, what is going on, and 2, what insulin resistance or insulin is doing for the body or to the body when you have too much, and breaking down those small little steps to be able to shift and to change. Because most women are thinking insulin is just sugar, right? But insulin is a storage of hormones. Insulin is a space where you are supposed to have grounding and balance so that way you can use and unlock those cells and have that glucose go into the cells so that way those cells can transfer it to each organ, each vital space, so that way you're using the energy that you're eating. But a lot of people don't have a good nutritional balance. So then not only is your gut health poor, so you're not being able to absorb all the nutrients from your gut, right? So you're eating foods and you're sitting here consuming foods that are not helping you build your body up to have successful days. But instead, you're having a day or you're having a life of constantly playing catch up. I need coffee for energy, caffeine for energy. I need X, Y, and Z things, snacks and sugar to get me through the day. And so you're sitting here and let's say that you're breaking your fast and you're eating carbs now. Thank you. I did it myself. When you're eating carbs now and they are breaking down into glucose, right? The glucose enters your bloodstream and that glucose is what's supposed to unlock those cells, and insulin is released to move that glucose into this, I said that backwards. The insulin is supposed to help that glucose unlock the cells and help glucose move into your cells. So when you're having the issue of now your cells are not getting unlocked because you have too much insulin inside of your body and the body does not want to unlock the cells because the cells are panicking saying, you can't give me all that insulin and glucose. We're supposed to pair together in a normal, natural balance, but you have too much of one and not enough of others to be able to spread it all throughout. And you're trying to overload this one cell with too much insulin. I'm putting a wall up. I don't want it. And so then your glucose spikes. It repeatedly happens throughout the day every time you eat. And guess what? When you have a dysregulation with your hormones, specifically insulin, guess what's happening? This glucose is recycling through your body. And I've talked about this, and I said this last live, and it's a great example to understand and to really like conceptualize and visualize. Reduce, reuse, recycle is not the method for your body. Your body likes to expel, release, and start over. It likes new. So when you think about anything being reused in your body and recycling inside of your body, that's a dangerous space. Even your cells die off and want new cells, healthy cells. It does not want to keep using the same cells that have been in your body since you were 10. It wants to release and use new cells. So think about how glucose is getting redistributed through your body repeatedly. The glucose that should have been expelled, that should have been used, that's dangerous. And so as you're having these glucose spikes throughout the day, your insulin is going to stay elevated. And this is going to deplete your energy because now your pancreas is working overtime to compensate, to try to get that insulin to be balanced. And so when your insulin stays elevated for years, because you've done this to your body for years, your cells begin to respond less effectively. This in return is insulin resistance. So then the body has to compensate by releasing more insulin, like I said, which happens in the pancreas. So more insulin equals more fat storage. More insulin being produced equals inflammation or more inflammation, because if you're already eating inflammatory foods and have inflammatory processes going on, and then you're sitting here and you're dealing with an overload of insulin being pumped out by the pancreas, now you're having an overload of inflammation just from that pancreas producing more insulin and that insulin being too high in the body. More insulin means that there is more metabolic stress. So you know what that means? Your metabolism is going to be poor. How many women sit here and talk about how their metabolism is not fast enough? That's the reason why they put on weight so easily. And a lot of y'all are not realizing it's not just because you eat sugar and the sugar is the enemy, but it's literally because of the process that you have going on with all of this insulin being pumped out and produced from your pancreas, because it's trying to unlock your cells and use this energy, and you're not using it. You're not making that connection of how to use it. And it's a simple process. You just have to understand how the body operates outside of just saying, I have to eat and fill my body. And this is how I eat and this is how I fill my body every day. I'm tired and I have a whole bunch of work to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run over here to McDonald's. Because this is when you start to make your A1C start to climb up the charts. It's a slow climb, but it's going to climb up the charts. And then you wonder why in 10, 15, 20 years, or however, whatever age that you are starting to develop insulin resistance or you're diagnosed with diabetes. The inflammation is connected to your insulin resistance. And a lot of people don't understand that inflammation is more than just, oh, I have poor gut health and that I need to take a gut supplement. But that poor gut health is a result of the fact that you're not eating the foods that your body is needing. But that's because you weren't taught how to eat for your body. You were taught to fill instead of fueling. You have to learn how to fuel the body. So that way you do have energy that does not depend on caffeine for energy. So that way you do have a space where your body feels comfortable releasing a natural, normal amount of insulin and unlocking those cells and using that glucose and then getting rid of it and not recycling it. Having a space where your body is not overly inflamed because of all the insulin that's being pumped out. Because that's what a lot of people don't understand. Insulin resistance is deeply connected to inflammation. It's deeply connected because when the body's in a chronic inflammatory state, cells become stressed out. These same cells that have to go to each organ of your body to release energy, to give you energy, to help everything be able to function and flow day by day, the cells are now stressed out. So that stress is now causing inflamed tissue, and inflamed tissue does not communicate well with insulin. Inflamed tissue makes your cells panic, and that makes your pancreas have to pump out more insulin because it's going, this is not where we want to go. I don't know where else we're going to use this glucose, but this is not where we want to go. And so it's going to trigger a number of inflammatory responses. So things like ultra processed foods, blood sugar spikes. You sitting here dealing with gut dysfunction, poor sleep, chronic stress, environmental toxins, overtraining your body. And why I say overtraining, I mean thinking that you have to be in the gym, working out as hard as you possibly can every time you go to the gym and not working out according to your cycle phases, because that is a big, impactful no-no. That's what I'm going to say. You should not think that every single workout you go to the gym, this is the most hard strength training workout that you should be having. You should be able to look at which cycle phase you were in and say, okay, today that's not going to support me, because if I do that, it's going to throw off X, Y, and Z. I'm at the perfect time for me to do strength training. This is going to help build my body up. So that way, guess what? I am moving. I'm using all the things that I've eaten today. Under eating is the number one inflammatory trigger that I work with women on, because people don't understand, just because you are fasting and you ate yesterday does not mean that you helped your body get everything that you need. And there are plenty of studies that are talking about the fact that how people are still overweight and overeating, but yet undernourished, and why we're undernourished. And it's all these additives and fillers that they've put in our food, and they know this. And then they teach you how to fill the body instead of fueling it day by day. And so you don't understand what a good fueled body feels like. You just know what a filled body feels like. So when you stuff yourself on Thanksgiving and you know what that overstuffed body feels like, and you're like, yeah, I don't like that. That makes me feel uncomfortable. That's what a filled body feels like. Yes, it's overfilled, but that's how you feel every day. Sluggish after a meal, uncomfortable. Don't feel supported and energized. Don't feel light. Don't feel full for a long period of time. That is an undernourished body that is just filled. Fuel gives you not only that quality in the food that helps you be able to continue your day, but it also keeps you filled. So that way, you're not craving food within 20 to 30 minutes, even though you just ate a whole meal. So this is why inflammation disrupts that insulin signaling, because there are so many triggers that happen in inflammatory responses. We know inflammation is like as simple as arthritis, or it can be as deep as a chronic disease or an illness like diabetes. But when you pinpoint exactly how it interacts with the disease or how it interacts with the body, it starts to make more sense why these consequences are happening. It starts to make more sense why you're going through these things, right? When cells stop responding effectively to insulin, and you were sitting here and you were dealing with a body that does not know how to recognize sugar at all, whether it's a natural sugar from fruits or a fake sugar from processed crap like cookies, right? Glucose remains circulating through the body, and we just talked about how dangerous that is. So then guess what? The pancreas is releasing more insulin to compensate, and the cycle intensifies itself. So you do this for years of your body sitting here saying, well, I'm going to have to overcompensate with the pancreas. So the pancreas is working overtime every single day for, let's say, 10 years. Could you imagine working at a job knowing that you work an 8-hour shift, and then they tell you for the next 10 years, you're going to have to work overtime, and we're going to give you a whole 14-hour shift, and you have to do this every single day? You're going to feel overworked and burnt out too. That's what your pancreas is doing. That's how your pancreas is feeling, because you're not supporting it. And this is why dieting does not fix the problem, because we don't operate from diet culture of like keto, paleo, Weight Watchers, right? We don't do diet culture anymore. Diet culture is something that's a good marketing scam and a scheme, but it doesn't help you get long-term sustainable health benefits and return. It just gives you that momentary, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 20 days and I feel lighter and I feel good for now. But it doesn't teach you how to change your habits so that way the body stays in a sustainable place. Even if you do slip up and you want to have a sweet treat, it does not mean that your whole diet goes out the window. But that's what they teach you in diet culture, that your whole diet goes out the window. But instead, understanding, today I treated myself with a little bit of cookie, a little bit of this. And I didn't binge eat it, because guess what? I'm used to having these because I don't restrict them from my life. I just manage it from a space of not having additives, not having fillers, and not throwing my body's insulin off. Not throwing off my blood sugar every time that I eat, but having stabilizers And majority of the time, because I talk to a lot of people who have sugar addiction, because when I bring up sugar addiction, people are like, well, how did you get rid of your sugar addiction? It took me 2 weeks. 1 week of actually not eating the sugar and being actively aware that I wasn't going to eat sugar. And then the second week, it became a subconscious thought of just like, I don't need it. You don't need sugar. It takes 2 weeks. Yes, it's not going to be easy if you've been eating sugar every day for the past 20 years of your life at 8 o'clock, because you're going to crave it at 8 o'clock. That was trained into you. That's what you've trained yourself to crave at 8 o'clock. But when you understand how simple it can be, just by you making sure your body is filled with fuel, enough protein, enough healthy fats that keep you full, by 8 o'clock, you won't be able to eat that snack. And if you do want to add in a sweet treat, a little snack, guess what? You have some fruit in the fridge. You have some fruit on the counter that you can go grab an orange. You can go grab an apple if you like to eat apples that way. Slice it up all cute the way you want it to. Heck, even just popping it in the air fryer, heating it up a little bit if you like a little baked apple that resembles something that is not healthy, but gives you that same stimulation to tell yourself, I had a sweet treat today, I'm done. But this is something that was not just overnight I just started doing. I worked my way up to this. And this is what you have with a strategy and a plan, which I teach in my program that I'm going to go into a little bit more later. But this program that I have that we're going to start next week, it's not posted on my website, but it has gone out to my email list that will be posted before the end of today. Actually, after this live, I'm going to post the link for it. For you to understand how simple it can be for you to balance your blood sugar, get your A1C in check, get this whole stabilization that you have been searching for in diet culture out of diet culture, because that's not sustainable. We want sustainable changes. So let's talk about why dieting fails, so we can really understand and get into the concept of why does this never work? But yet you see all these people on here, right, who have lost over 100 pounds on the marketing schemes that they give you. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. All the different marketing that they give you of this person has lost over 100 pounds on my Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig, and this is what we've done. And they make you starve yourself into losing weight. That does not mean you're being healthy. And I've talked about this before, and I really want you to gain that concept of understanding. If it worked for the people who were anorexic and bulimic, whatever eating disorder, if it worked for them, do you think that they would have to be in some type of program that helps them work through actually eating real foods and taking care of their body? Just because you're a different size than them does not mean your body operates in a different way. So why do you think you can starve yourself into being healthy or being skinnier or thinner, and that's going to work out for you if we know how detrimental that is? Like, you really have to think about it. No matter if you have excess or you are small, or if you're in the middle, if you're at the top of the biggest, why do you think starving yourself into being healthy is the way to go? I'm not saying fasting, because fasting done effectively in the correct way is different. It's completely different. So when you think about dieting and diet culture in general, most women respond to weight gain by dieting harder. You have to think about it. Most women respond to weight gain by dieting harder. You saw that you've gained 10 pounds and you don't want those 10 pounds. So guess what you start doing? Restricting, starving yourself, being uncomfortable for weeks. And then when you're finally ready to at the breaking point, because you subconsciously cannot do it anymore, and you see that beautiful meal that looks delicious that you haven't had all month, and you finally break, you feel bad. You start talking crazy. The behavior that you have and you resemble is cutting carbs aggressively, skipping meals, drinking coffee instead of eating, and then doing these intense workouts in a depleted state. And then you wonder why after a month of you doing this, you literally cannot wrap your brain around eating another piece of celery and salad. And I'm not saying that eating a salad is the only way for you to be healthy and take care of your body, because please don't get it twisted. But I just want you to realize of how you get to the space of no diets work for me and I can never really eat healthy and this is never going to work for me, subconsciously and consciously telling yourself this over and over again because of the habits that you have. When you go into a space with the limited and lack mindset. And so you're sitting here thinking, I'm not going to have enough things to eat. I can't eat this. I can't eat this. I can't eat this. I can't do this. You're going to put yourself in a limited space, and you're going to constantly keep reminding yourself, I can't do this. I don't have enough. That's what you're going to say subconsciously to your brain. Your brain's going to be like, I don't have enough. I don't have enough food. I can't eat enough carbs today. I can't eat this. I can't have this many calories. Instead of telling yourself, instead of me eating this carb loaded crap that is not going to give me any nutrients, let me add in a healthy, stable carb with some healthy, stable proteins. And let me add in this healthy fat. And let me combine these all together so that way I have a healthy, hearty meal and I don't have to starve. Because not only is this going to keep me in a calorie deficit, because I'm not going to be craving snacks all day and eating all day. It's going to help me be full. And then guess what? If I do want to fast an X amount of time, I'm able to do that because I'm not from a depleted state. If I want to work out after work today, guess what? I'm not going to be working out from a depleted space. But you have to stop thinking that you starving yourself is the way for you to change your life, to change your health, because it's not going to. Because if it did work, all those people who are diagnosed with eating disorders, it would work for them. And you really have to think about it, especially because I don't really know if it's like because it used to be a big thing. I don't really see it much on TV. I don't really watch much TV much anymore, honestly. But when you think about like old TV shows, they used to talk a lot about like eating disorders, all types, right? And how bad they are and how they don't work and how it throws off your stomach if you're doing if you have like bulimia or anything like that, and how bad detrimental it is to like the gut health and your digestive health and how bad it is. But even though you're not actively doing it in the way that they're doing it as a disorder because they're aware, but they're not aware, a lot of them aren't aware in general, you were in the same space of not being aware of how detrimental diet culture is and how it's basically putting you in the same space. Like, it's a fine line that they have set to say this is not unhealthy, this is the way for you to go, but it's basically on the same lines because you're still not getting enough nutrients that you need every day. And you have to think, you really have to sit back and make that connection and think about how it's basically the same thing. And that's dangerous because you know how dangerous it is actively doing it on purpose. How modeling agencies and everybody else would not look at you unless you had that certain look and they knew that you were there ready to chuck up your whole entire lunch. Now, you might not have to throw up on your diet, but you're dang near sitting there eating your little raisin and your little piece of cracker and peanut butter on the side and telling yourself this is enough, and you know that's not enough. You know you didn't get anything. You're still sitting here hungry, and then you're telling yourself and gaslighting yourself into thinking that this was enough food. And all this is doing is putting your body under excessive stress. Under eating and stressed out. Does that sound like a beautiful place to be? Do you know what that does to the body when you're under eating and you're stressed out? And I'm not talking about stressed out like, oh, I'm mentally stressed out from working kids. You're stressed out on a cellular level because your cells don't have enough to do their functions. Do you know what that looks like? High cortisol. So think about how many years women are taught to do this. And then they wonder why their cortisol is so high and why by the time that they're 35, their body has completely changed. And they have all this stubborn weight. And a lot of it is visceral fat. And your doctor is trying to explain to you how dangerous visceral fat is. And a lot of people who don't drink and they're trying to pinpoint how you're starting to develop a fatty liver or at least signs of fatty liver. And you might not have that disease that runs in your family, a fatty liver disease, but they're trying to pinpoint what is going on because it can't be fatty liver disease because you don't drink. Plot twist. Fatty liver disease is paired with insulin resistance because that visceral fat stays there because of that stress, that high cortisol state. And this affects your metabolism. And so cortisol signals the liver to release more glucose. Release this glucose. Release more glucose. And glucose triggers your insulin. Like I said, they are buddies. They're going hand in hand. And so then now you're dieting while still in an elevated insulin state, or you're trying to fast your way into being healthy. And I say fast because, like I said, there's a healthy way for you to fast. But when you're not doing it correctly, you're confusing your metabolism. You are confusing your body. This does not mean that you are failing. This just means that you don't have the strategy that supports your own biology. This means that you're just not doing it correctly. And this is from a space where people aren't educated, and that's okay. You're just told to do things without having a blueprint. But this is where I'm here. This is why I'm here. We're cutting out that whole I don't know what to do and I don't know how to do it and playing that guessing game, because we're tired of playing guessing games. What actually reverses and changes the trajectory of your health, especially when it comes to your A1C, your blood sugar, but overall your inflammation, is you understanding how to reverse your insulin resistance from a metabolic space. Knowing how having that structure with your metabolism helps you not play that guessing game, because you understand when my metabolism is not working correctly, I'm not going to the bathroom correctly. That means I'm not releasing correctly. That's a release pathway, strike one. I'm not feeling good today. It seems like I'm getting a little sick. You know what that means? My metabolism, my immune system isn't built right. Strike two. You understand how to pinpoint what's going on with you rather than saying, I'm not feeling good today, I might have to go to the doctor. But you're able to sit back and say, you know what? I did eat fried foods 2 days ago and all of this junk. You know what's happening? My body is telling me I need more fiber, healthy proteins. I need something to help me with my gut because it needs a full breakdown, not a full breakdown. What's the word I'm going to use? A full revamp. That's the word I'm going to use. Because like I said, we're all human. Sometimes you're going to miss the mark when it comes to you eating the best, and other times you're going to be on it. But we prepare for those days by knowing what the body feels like at a baseline of being healthy. A lot of people don't know what their baseline health is because you've never felt that baseline healthy in your body. You have felt good, but you have never felt what the baseline of just existing and what your body is supposed to feel like. You've done a diet that's helped you feel good after the couple of weeks that you starved yourself into, and you feel skinnier. So you're gaslighting yourself, telling yourself, I feel great today. Because maybe you do feel good because you looked in the mirror and you were able to turn sideways and your stomach looked flat. But internally, your body is still saying, I'm hungry. And so when your stomach growls and you're looking in the mirror, and yes, you've lost those pounds and your stomach is flat, but you're still starving, that's not your baseline health. That's just as dangerous as you just eating all the junk that you've been eating on a daily basis. So we have to stop playing the guessing game, not doing random dieting, but having structure. And you have to understand that if you want structure, it's not going to be found, or a structured plan. It's not going to be found in the medical industry. They're not taught to teach you how to get away and reverse the issues that you're having on with these symptoms, with A1C, with you sitting here dealing with insulin resistance. They didn't teach them that. And there's no fault. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. Get your diagnosis, get your blood work done, go get your checkups done. What I am saying is, if you want a plan and a strategy and a structure that is going to help you be able to start reversal, that's what my program is designed for. That's what I help women work with. That's what I am here for, to bridge that gap and change that trajectory before it becomes a disease. And if it has become a disease, that does not mean you can't change it. But understanding that insulin is not the way to go, medication is not the way for you to go, because you're going to be dependent on it for the rest of your life. So you have to understand that function of insulin inside the body, and how, when it rises, why it rises, and how your daily habits are either going to destabilize it or it's going to disrupt it. When you have that knowledge, it removes that fear. So you're not going to the doctor and you're sitting here twiddling your thumbs and just hoping that everything is fine and your numbers have gone down. But you understand that you know how you've been rising your insulin, and you understand how your insulin has been disrupted all these years. And so guess what? Now you're going to the doctor. You're confident because you're like, I've been doing all this inflammatory and anti-inflammatory habits, cut out all this inflammatory food, been stabilizing my sugar, stabilizing my insulin. Women who understand the mechanisms, the mechanics of their body, stop reacting emotionally to food. We talked about emotional eating. We talked about emotional eating and being driven in that space all of last year. I'm done explaining that. I'm not going to go back into that. If you want to catch that, it is on my YouTube. I have plenty of content talking about emotional eating. But you have to know why your body is stuck in this pattern, how the meals are affecting your energy, how timing affects your blood sugar when you are eating, when you are breaking your fast, when you're using stabilizers or not using stabilizers, how certain foods are spiking your glucose. This is giving you awareness of how your body, your biology, uses your metabolism and how your metabolism behaves. And so if you were looking for a space, like I said, my program is starting next week. You can go ahead and sign up. There are 4 pillars to this program. My first pillar is blood sugar stabilization. This is our protocol for us to be able to understand not only having those structured meals and those structured meal times and understanding those spikes, knowing how to get those proteins in our meals, because that's important. Having strategic carbs in our life, because we don't cut the carbs. We understand how important it is to pair them with things. Eliminating all these high spike patterns and why you're having all these sugar cravings and understanding those and breaking that down and getting away from all of that. Helping people who have sugar addiction is not a difficult process. So if you feel like that you have sugar addiction and you're like, I'm too far gone, I just want you to know that that's never that. It's never been that. The second pillar that I will help you with through this process is inflammatory load reduction. So this means anti-inflammatory habits, right? Gut health, healthy gut health, having liver fat reduction strategies. So you having something that is going to support your liver during this time. Removing those metabolic disruptors from your life that are throwing you off. Third pillar, muscle activation strategy. Simple as it sounds. We are going to get you moving to help your blood sugar be able to stabilize itself, because you have to get moving to stabilize your blood sugar. This is going to help your glucose clear out, so you're not sitting here recycling glucose. It's going to help you improve with your fasting numbers for the people who like to intermittent fast, because I like to intermittent fast. Is what I do every day. But you have to know how to effectively do it, because if not, you are stressing out your cells. Increasing your metabolic flexibility. That's a key function that a lot of women don't understand how important and impactful it is for you to have metabolic flexibility. And having lean tissue protection, because I know people freak out when we talk about eating a plant-based lifestyle and eating plant-based foods. First thing you're thinking about is my muscles. How do I build muscle? How do I keep my muscle? Because people freak out and they think that you cannot gain and keep muscle when you are on plant-based living. But when you are eating junk and not eating enough nutrients, nobody's going to be able to have a healthy amount of muscle. It's going to be a bunch of fat. And when you are not getting enough nutrients, you're not going to have a healthy, stable weight, whether it's a higher number or a lower number. So this is where the nutrients comes in and understanding how impactful it is. It's not about me sitting here becoming a nutritionist for you and breaking down all the numbers and saying, this is how many calories are in this, and giving you 100 grams of berries and being like, this is how much you need to eat. But understanding this is what a healthy, hearty bowl feels like, and breaking down, okay, this is your stabilizer. This is going to help you with your blood sugar. This is going to help you get that healthy protein. This is your healthy fat. Combining them all together. And guess what? It's not going to completely throw you off in having this healthy, normal, natural sugar versus the processed sugar, because we're trying to get the body recognizing natural sugar again versus processed sugar, because that is a thing. It recognizes them. It understands the difference. But when you were just eating any kind of sugar, and this is all your body knows, it's just you eat sugar every day, it's not going to recognize natural sugar versus normal versus processed sugar. And so everything is just sugar. Everything is a toxic sugar. Everything is scary sugar. And on pillar 4, we are doing metabolic flexibility restoration. This is going to help you be able to retrain your body into transitioning between glucose and fat. So this is where the fat burning starts. This is where you start to lose the weight. You start to look healthier. You start to feel healthier, feel lighter. Lower your fasting insulin gradually, because it's not about you just doing it and it's going to happen within 2 days, but understanding how we get the body comfortable, feeling great again, having the body be able to trust you again, and restore cellular activity and sensitivity to sugars, to insulin, so that way you unlock those cells and use that energy. This is a space where a lot of women want to be, but they don't know where to find it. And I'm here to help you be able to get into a space of pattern mapping, helping you release that high cortisol so you can be in a comfortable space. Strategically sequencing food in your life instead of restricting and calorie counting and starving. But as somebody who's been plant-based for over 5 years, it's about to be 5.5 years, there is not a day where I go by where I'm starving myself and I'm dying for food. I don't eat salads every day. So it's just about you knowing what you want and making the decision to go get it. Because insulin resistance does not just appear overnight, nor is it going to be fixed overnight. But it's about you having that drive for change and understanding exactly what you need to do, having a plan. And this program begins next week. It is going to help you be able to understand that your body is not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Your body is not punishing you. You just haven't been taught the correct habits. So I really appreciate you guys for the likes. Thank you guys for the comments. If you guys have any questions for me, please drop them down. If you're watching this later on YouTube, drop any questions that you have in the comments. I do respond to my questions in the comments. I post every single Tuesday and Thursday over on YouTube. So this will be posted on Tuesday of next week if you missed this live and you want to catch all of it. And if you want to catch any of my past lives, they also are already on YouTube. You can go check those out as well. If you are new here and do not know who I am, hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. I have my name is Kay over here because, you know, that is my little nickname. Y'all can call me either which one that you would, whichever one you prefer. Drop any questions that you have down for me. And if you don't have any questions, I will be back on Sunday. I take the Sabbath. So this is my last work day of the week. And then I start again on Sunday. Saturdays are my rest days. So I won't be on my phone or doing anything. So if you guys have any questions or if anything is not working, oh, that link for that is going up right now, actually, because I need to post it now. And you were looking for that and you were like, something isn't working. I'm not ignoring you. I promise I will be on the ball when I get back to work. Okay. Any questions for me at all while I post this up? And if I don't see anyone, I'm done. I'm going to hop off because I got a few things to do. It is Friday. Friday. Did I take the other one off? Yeah, okay, I did. I was like, I think I took that program off before the new year, but I wanted to make sure because we were refining and doing different things since the beginning of the year. So I am very excited to work with the ladies that are already getting in, that are signing up. From my email list. My email list they always find things out first. My email list is first, always. Email list comes first. They give my Wellness Wednesday every single Wednesday. If you want to check that out, if you want to sign up for that, it is linked in my bio as well on all of my social medias. Go scroll down. I think it's at the bottom, and that's my email list. You can get in there. And if you are looking for any more help, if you're looking for my Eating Away Diabetes cookbook, it breaks down so much for you. It helps you. My detoxing, my cleansing code, my purge the poison, all of those are linked in my bio. So if you are not needing anything else, I am going to hop off. Goodness, I had a hiccup, y'all. So sorry. But it is called the Metabolic Reversal Method. And it's going to help you be able to obviously get your metabolism in check, help you be able to balance that A1C, get your blood sugar right. So if nobody has any questions while I post this, I am going to hop off because, like I said, I have a couple different things to do. And I don't even know if it's going to let me post this for how long it is because it is quite a bit of a long title, but that's okay. Can you take me to the end? Okay, there we go. This is a hot mess. No questions for me? I'm not seeing any questions. All right. Well, since I am not seeing any questions, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. Be safe. I will see you next week. And peace, y'all.